Hi everyone, and welcome back as I continue my review of The Prisoner. Obviously, the episodes are not in air date. This is the order which I prefer, because it makes a lot more sense. Particularly with this episode. This episode really stands out to be the true episode 2. Not much further down the list because of various aspects in this story. So let's get cracking. Dance of the Dead starts with a very zealous doctor trying to extract information out of number 6. He's gone to bed. They drugged him, obviously. The medical staff walk into his place, wire him up, and he goes to work on him, the doctor. Now, he's got another prisoner in the village who's probably been there a little bit longer than number 6. Number 6 recognises him as Dutton, and he's drugged up to his eyeballs, he is, and basically the doctor's forcing Dutton to press number 6 for information, and information that number 6 will not give at all. He refuses, and he sort of goes into, well, sort of a fit, very brief fit before he passes out. I believe this doctor actually would have continued. He wouldn't have given a damn about number 6 and the consequences. He just wanted the information out of him. But very fortunately for number 6, number 2 has intervened. Now, this number 2, played by Mary Morris, is brilliant. She comes across as very sinister, doesn't give anything away, and her character believes that number 6 has a future with them in the village. So he was very lucky there, number 6. That's interesting to note that insubordinates to number 2 do step out of line. Anyway, the story goes on. Number 6 and number 2 are walking around the village. It's a carnival coming up, and she's recommending some young ladies to him. He says, no, thank you. What about that one over there? And she says, no, unsuitable. But he approaches her, starts asking her questions, the usual questions. And she basically says, no, go away, I'm not answering. He follows to the town hall, where number 6 walks straight into some sort of force field barrier barring his entrance to the town hall. So we've got a bit of a science fiction element there, because that sort of thing, it doesn't exist in the real world. Yeah, so he can't get in. It turns out that the young lady he was speaking to is in fact one of the observers in the security of the village, and she has been assigned to observe the movements of number 6. There's a good bit in the evening as the sun's going down, and the number 6 is saying, I'm not seeing a nighttime round here. And he winds him up a little bit. He gets hold of a pillow, he shoves it in front of a television, because obviously it's a monitor screen spying on him, and it makes this hideous noise. But he's smiling. He knows that's annoying them, so he doesn't care. Anyway, eventually jumps out his window, but he doesn't get anywhere at the end of the day. He just, tough. And so he spends the night out on the beach. In the morning, when he wakes up, he discovers a body has been washed up on shore and has identification on the body. So number 6 is now formulating a plan. Some sort of plan to let the outside world know of his existence. And so eventually, he heads on back home. Now, here's a good point. Here's something that's a really good point. His carnival costume turns up. It turns out to be his own suit. Now, in Arrival, number 6 was told they burnt his suit. So therefore, how can you trust what anybody says? There it is. He gets his own suit. And he bumps into number 2 again. He has a radio on him. This is also found on the corpse. He discovers, and he's listening to it, and she's probing him, and it's like she doesn't really care. That's an interesting thing. She's not a zealous number 2. She doesn't really care. Keep the damn thing. I'm not bothered if it thinks it's going to make your life better. Yeah. And then this stage, it's revealed that the young lady number 6 was talking to earlier in the episode is in fact his observer. And of course, he's asking her even more questions, and she just will not answer any of his questions at all. Not one answer. And so number 6 puts his plan into motion to let the outside world know of his existence. He pinches some rope and a life belt. I forget the actual wording. Puts it on the body. He puts his ID papers inside the wallet, puts that into the body, and puts the body back out to sea. And then, behold, meets Dutton. Yeah, Dutton. He meets him. Dutton tells him that he basically just spilt the beans on everything he knew, but his intelligence level of, the sensitive information was way above him, and he wasn't allowed to review that. And he basically says, I'm a walking dead man. They're coming for me. So it's now the evening, and it's the carnival. Just to note, earlier on, during the daytime, there's a proclamation given out. You will attend this carnival and you will enjoy this carnival. Some of the crowd were, yeah! And others, the looks on their faces, no thank you. It's like they've been trodden on, basically. So anyway, here we are at the carnival. And number 6 is not that impressed by it. He has a conversation with number 2 and the observer again. And he eventually just says, I'm done with this. I'm walking out. And he grabs the opportunity, basically, to snoop around the place. And that's exactly what he does. He snoops around the place. He manages to pick up a white jacket with a badge on it, obviously, and a pair of spectacles. He runs into another person, and they believe, he's one of them, and he gets handed this piece of paper, and it's an execution of Walter Dutton. It's an execution order, basically, to terminate him, to end it. And obviously number 6 is quite horrified by that. He continues to look around. A lot of the doors are locked, but he does come across one area that is opened up, and he looks around it, and eventually in the last room, there's what it looks like, and it is, a miniature morgue, you could say. That's the only way to describe it, a miniature morgue. Anyway, number 2 discovers where number 6 is. He discovers the body he put out to sea, so the authority got hold of it. They touched it up to make it look like number 6 and whatnot. So she's basically saying, we're going to put it back out to sea. It's going to look like you who's died at sea. Sort of winding number 6 up. Anyway, they go back to the cavalry, and there's this show trial, this real mockery of a show trial. Basically, number 6 is on trial for having a piece of equipment, the radio, and which is forbidden, and it's forbidden to listen to this device. And this is absolutely weird trial because number 2 is defending number 6 and his observer is the prosecution. The whole thing is just so laughable, but it's to demonstrate really to number 6. You thought you got away with X, Y, Z in the case of, the discovery of the body on the beach. You thought you could do this, and no, we beat you to the punch on that one. But he tries to turn the tables on him at the trial. He calls out, "I want a character witness, Dutton." And of course, one of the judges says, "No names here." And eventually, number 2 goes and gets Dutton. He's in a Joker costume. He's obviously drugged up to his eyeballs. He can't answer any number 6's questions. So it clearly comes across as just a ridiculous charade of a show trial. That's all it is. It's just a bit of entertainment, you could say. Deliberate entertainment. Just to slap number 6 down in some ways. Anyway, we approach the end of the trial, and number 6 is found guilty, and they pass the death sentence. And his observer, former observer, should I say, protests. Now, this is interesting. Is this also an example to her? Basically saying, if you want to be on our side of the fence, you've got to obey the rules. Anyway, number 6 storms out. He gets chased out by everybody else, runs around the place, and eventually he comes across a room where there's like a teleprinter or something in there, and he breaks it all up. He opens it up and he wrecks it, basically. His reasons for doing it, don't know. But I'm going to assume he thinks what he's read on the printout is important, so he wants to obviously strike back. Anyway, number 2 and his former observer walk in and basically says, "You're the only one that's got this far because you're the only one who's got initiative. Everybody else hasn't." And she's basically saying, the trial's over. The whole thing was just a put-up job, just to slap number 6 down, and possibly even the observer, former observer, should I say. And so there's a bit of a standoff between number 6 and number 2. He's basically saying, you're not going to win. You're not going to get the answers out of me. And she just stands there and says, "Well, basically, hard cheese, mate. If that's your game, then so be it." And to demonstrate our authority over you, suddenly the printer comes back to life. It's working again, and number 2 just stands there laughing at number 6. Basically, once again, they're giving him a free hand because they basically know what he's going to do, and he lost this round because this teleprinter, he thought he smashed up all these important messages coming off it, springs back to life, and oh dear. Yeah, so there you go for the episode, and let's press on with a few more of my thoughts on this one. Right, so here we go. So, what has number 6 learnt? Well, not much really, let's be honest. Because he tried to escape twice in Arrival, failed. He tried to, well, not so much an escape, just to sort of try and get his way. breaking out of his apartment at night in this episode, saying, I never seen a knight. I want to see a knight round here. And basically, he gets followed by Rover on the beach, but Rover doesn't attack him. No, not this time. And so it's like the powers to be are just saying, go ahead, feel free. You're going to achieve nothing, absolutely nothing. You are here, we've got you, and sooner or later we are going to get the answers that we seek. So that's basically it for the first 2 episodes so far. Mary Morris is number 2 in this is brilliant. She's very confident, very sinister, always got the upper hand over number 6, and basically plays him because he's been predictable. They know he's going to use his initiative, and in many ways, to them, it's like, this is great. We've got somebody who's rebelling, who's going to put us to the test, and this is good. And yet, in their own ranks, they have this issue, and it's a problem, you could say, to them, because if the Doctor succeeded in cracking number 6 and causing harm to number 6, I think he would have been for the chop for what he tried to do. But he was fortunate that number 2 stepped in and prevented any harmful damage to number 6. And as I said, this number 2 says number 6 has a future with them. So it's like they're trying to persuade number 6 to come over to our side of the fence. Just give us the information we need. Why did you resign? And come on in and join us. And on that note, I'm going to let you guess the next episode I'm going to review. Okay, everyone, have a great day. See you in due course. Goodbye.